welcome to the stage Anthony Kennada, the founder and CEO of Audience Plus.
No sleep! Everybody! No sleep to Brooklyn!
Welcome to the first ever Golden Hour. How's everyone doing? All right, good. Notorious B.I.G., Jay-Z, Nas, what do they all have in common? Well, they're all from right here in Brooklyn, New York. Also, they would have all hated hearing me rap. So my apologies to the pioneers. Do you think Big Daddy Kane ever wondered what rhymes with nurturing leads? Probably not. I think I am to rapping what NFTs were to art. Seriously, we are thrilled to be here in Brooklyn. This is our inaugural event, and like the Beastie Boys, we haven't slept much. But trust me, it will soon be, as they say, time to get ill. Hopefully some of you guys get that reference. While everyone else is hosting their conferences across the river in Manhattan, we couldn't feel any more at home here in Williamsburg. Even if we did name the event Golden Hour, and it's been cloudy with a chance of rain in the forecast this evening ever since we moved in. So don't worry, dinner is on a rooftop, and we opted for hors d'oeuvres instead of umbrellas. So let's just have it in Scottsdale, they said. Anyway, we should also just get the elephant out of the room before we get started. Audience Plus is a startup very early in our journey, and putting together something like this is not easy on the budget. So with this in mind, if you find yourself without a ride after the conference, keep an eye out for me on Uber. I have 5 stars, all my passengers get mints. Now, I'm sure when you first heard about Golden Hour, you all wondered the same thing. Does the world really need another tech marketing conference where a bunch of people get together to talk about their Tesla Cybertrucks and how AI can eventually make cold plunges even colder? Again, probably not. But if we're using the same status quo definition of conference, then the world probably doesn't need another one. But still, I believe that our community needs something right now. Something that's different than the status quo and the traditional vendor events that many of us have attended year after year. We need a space where we can break out of our LinkedIn feeds and Slack channels to draw inspiration from new ideas, not just recycle the same playbooks time and time again. We need an on-site environment that is more intimate, that enables those attending in person here to strengthen existing relationships and build new ones. And the open bar won't hurt afterwards as well. We need an inclusive digital broadcast that goes beyond a basic live stream to help educate and inspire a global audience. And we need a shared experience that demonstrates the power of good marketing, not just by what is shared from the stage here, but what is felt by every attendee throughout the event. No pressure to the Audience Plus marketing team at all. But the truth is that in my 15 years of working in SaaS, I've never once attended an event like this. And so Golden Hour is our attempt to interrupt the pattern and introduce an event brand that makes marketers feel relevant and inspired and prepared for the next chapter of our industry. And today is really just the start. So we couldn't make Golden Hour happen alone. There's a fine line between Coachella and Fyre Fest. So I want to give my sincerest thanks to our partners, especially Vimeo, for their support. Thank you so much for everyone that helped make Golden Hour happen this year. So thanks for the assist. During my 7 years leading marketing for a company called Gainsight, I saw firsthand how an in-person gathering can spark a movement. Yes, even in enterprise software. In 2013, we had 300 early pioneers in customer success attend our first industry conference in San Francisco called Pulse. By the way, this picture was taken right before the fire alarm went off during the opening keynote. So we're about 10 minutes in, and I'm happy to announce we're off to a better start so far. But years later, Pulse exploded into a full-on media brand for the customer success audience, with 6,000 attendees at Moscone Center, annual sister events in Europe and Australia, virtual workshops, in-person communities in 50 cities across the globe. One year, we even had a Ferris wheel. Customer success became a movement. And it all started with a few hundred people gathered in a room just like this one around a new idea. And I see that same opportunity for us, for our marketing community gathered here in Brooklyn and the thousands that are watching online. So each of you today here in person received a commemorative Goldenhour pin marking your attendance today. I'd encourage you to hang on to it and wear it at future events, and really kind of having that almost like symbol of being one of the first, being the early pioneer in this movement. At Gainsight, we had our conference attendees years later wearing lanyards covered with their entire pin collection, looking like a very cool TGI Fridays waiter. It was always so fun and just so rewarding to see who the OGs were. We've been trying to be very intentional about how we design this agenda, really around this idea of inspiration, education, and connection. And we believe that shared experiences like Goldenhour can really bind us together, but also play an important role in not just the development of an industry, but our very careers within the industry. Frankly, I don't think it could come at a better time. Because as I'm reflecting on just sort of my career journey, I don't think there's ever been a time quite like this where an entire profession is being reinvented. And this reinvention is happening when most of us are pretty tired. Anyone else here feeling tired? Not in a coffee not hitting, jet lag from travel kind of tired, like a deeper existential tired? But look, if we're going to move forward, we first have to address some of the very real trauma that our industry has experienced over the last 5 years. Because fatigue, exhaustion, increased stress, these are all symptoms that could run wild if we don't identify and process the root cause. So if you'll allow me, let's relive the trauma for just a few minutes, just to put things in context. You remember 2020? We dealt with the onset of the COVID pandemic, lockdowns, the move to remote work, the need to figure out how to make an impact through seasons of uncertainty. Remember walking one-on-ones, infinite Zoom windows, virtual happy hours. We had to enforce new boundaries between our professional lives and our personal lives. We had to somehow find a way to hit our pipeline targets while also figuring out an entirely new way of working, all while operating under anxious thoughts and a very real threat to our health and safety and those of our teammates and those that we love. We didn't know what was going to come next as the world was opening up until the unexpected happened. Prosperity, zero interest rate policy, crypto millionaires. The post-pandemic boom led to an unnatural set of growth for a lot of SaaS companies. Marketing budgets were flush with cash. Thousands of companies were funded with valuations that reflected record multiples, and the industry went on a hiring and buying spree. And in the name of remote work, we hired people from across the globe. For many companies, growth came pretty easily. Whew, this could last forever. Wrong. SaaS market corrected. And this latest snapshot from Bessemer's Cloud Index shows the peak and trough of public SaaS valuations in blue relative to NASDAQ, S&P 500, and Dow Jones. And what's worse than the data visualization here is the very real whiplash that our profession experienced. How again, we had to go back to the drawing board. We were told by our CFOs to find a path to 2 years of runway, which meant almost universally taking a massive haircut on the marketing budget. For many of us, that required a devastating layoff, or two, or more, that affected very real people. Many of us personally impacted. In a recent survey of CMOs that we conducted, 44% shared that they now have less resources to achieve their revenue plans than they had in the previous 24 months. 78% believe that expectations on marketing to deliver growth are even higher than the previous 24 months. And 44% reported lower team morale over the last several years. So now, as we look to gather our footing to execute on this efficient growth charter that we've been given with our leaner teams, we're leaning on the marketing tactics and playbooks that we've executed well for our entire careers, only to find that these playbooks no longer work. Welcome to the inspiring keynote, everyone. What do we do? How do we move forward? The silver lining on trauma, pain, and suffering is that it builds perseverance. And this is just as true at work as it is in our personal lives. You don't just go from suffering to okay to success at the flip of a dime. But psychologists say that there's one powerful emotional construct that can help accelerate the recovery process better than anything else. Any guesses what that is? Hope. Hope can transform even the most acute trauma into a beautiful story. Hope gives us something to hang on to look forward to beyond the current struggles of our day-to-day. We all need hope in something, whether that's in our careers or in our personal lives. Otherwise, we're just going through the motions. And who better than marketers than to create a sense of optimism, to inspire not just ourselves, but our teams, the rest of the company, and even the audiences that we serve. But before we turn to inspire others, we have to put our own oxygen mask on first. And that's what today's about, finding our hope. And together, to co-author the next generation marketing playbook that allows us to make an impact unlike ever before. So, with that as our goal, with that as our task for today, let's zoom into the tactics just for a little bit. There seems to be a consensus that the 2-decade-old playbooks that we've all been executing are just no longer working in the same way. In fact, it's almost become a bit of a meme to post this on LinkedIn and to say that. Call it marketing automation, inbound marketing, or whatever. And by the way, I am certainly not knocking those strategies. They've served us well for many years. But a lot's changed over the last 5 years, just as we walked through, almost certainly over the last 20. We have a session coming up this morning where we're going to dive deeper into this topic, but let me propose the changes that I've observed that have made this statement true. First, the ability to capture the attention of our buyer audience has become more difficult than ever before. And sure, there are many more companies that are now competing for that very limited attention, but our very brains have been rewired by the proliferation of new content formats on social media that literally create an endless rush of dopamine. Scientists actually have a name for this phenomenon. They call it TikTok brain. And it has literally narrowed our collective attention span as a society. So how can the old playbook around gating ebooks and white papers compete with the instant gratification and dopamine reward of a short-form video asset on your LinkedIn feed? Who, by the way, just released their own TikTok-like feature. All right, so buyer attention is more scarce. What else has changed? Well, our relationship with social media has changed. We know these platforms are important. We have to be where our audience is. We have to compete on that battlefield for attention. But I think what we're waking up to is this idea that the intentions of these platforms are misaligned with our own. X has been unapologetic about their active suppression of certain links on their platform, most famously Substack. The LinkedIn algorithm changes every few weeks, impacting our reach. TikTok is closer than ever to a national ban here in the United States. And I think what we're learning on these platforms is that there sits between us and our audience a third-party algorithm that we don't control. And it's throttling our reach and throttling our distribution into our very followers. And since the underlying business model for these platforms is around advertising, their incentives are never going to align with our own. So what's really interesting is the consumer and creator economies got wise to this misalignment or much earlier than we did in B2B. And companies like Substack and Patreon have convinced the industry that you need to own that relationship with your audience in order to be successful in driving outcomes through them. And that's an important future for our industry as well. Let's look at another change. Under the CFO call for efficient growth, everyone had to run the analysis to figure out which channels were more effective and efficient than others. And the data shows that paid media typically will represent the largest line item in the marketing program's budget, and also one of the least efficient marketing channels. And it's no surprise when the red pen comes out to look for some cost savings, it's the paid media budget that's targeted first. By the way, this is not to say that digital advertising is dead. I actually think paid has a very important role in the future of B2B marketing. But the reality is that even for companies that are doing this really, really well at scale, it's getting harder to find efficiencies on that spend. And so it's something that we have to be paying attention to. We have to rethink how we deploy paid dollars as this efficiency focus is here to stay. One last change. Legislation around consumer data privacy has gone into effect this year. If you've guys been following along, third-party cookie restrictions for Google Chrome went into effect for 1% of Google Chrome's users on January 4th. And will now be activated to the rest of the customer base in the second half of this year. So that's 68% of the internet, I think, running through Google Chrome. Google's also implemented email security mandates that go into effect in February, or went into effect, excuse me. We have more headwinds than ever before to reach our audience. And if you want to peek into the future, by the way, on the legislation side, check out the afternoon workshop on building an EMEA demand engine with Tim from Yoyaba, who runs the largest digital marketing agency in the DACH region. And DACH is typically one of the most regulated markets for digital marketing. So that'll be a good session to consider. This is a lot of change. There's a lot of change to process and a lot of challenges to the execution playbooks that we've built our entire careers on. So how do we respond? What do we do? And that's, again, the intention of what we're going to be working through, because I believe that there's a new dawn coming for the marketing industry. And I want to share with you the hope that I see for where we're headed. Hope for how we can lean into these challenges and, in doing so, come out the other end as a stronger and more impactful marketing practice. Let me show you what I see. We know that content is the oxygen for the marketing flywheel. However, we have to evolve our intention away from producing content for algorithmic value or cheap conversions to content that's actually produced for human value. And this means mastering formats beyond the written blog post, which is super important, we'll continue, embracing editorial writing, video, podcasts, and other live streaming and other media formats. It means balancing long-form and short-form production to capture attention. And I believe that in addition to all of the upskilling that's currently happening on internal content teams, creative agencies have a huge role to play in helping to accelerate the progress into this new kind of era. We have to be active in rented spaces like LinkedIn, YouTube, and others, but we have to realize that we cannot build for those channels alone. Think about your brand as a network, the official home for conversations, thought leadership, and community around your point of view. And a lot of that content will be produced by you and your team. A lot will be produced by incredible creators, influencers, subject matter experts who add both credibility and distribution to your network. We need to evolve this legacy idea of digital conversions into building an owned audience of subscribers, adding value and creating resource for the 95% of our audience who's already paying attention, but may not be in a position to buy today. And by the way, let's not abandon the demand capture kind of motions to get the 5% who are in market through the funnel. For too long, we've over-indexed on the 5% at the expense of the 95. And that direct first-party relationship means no third-party algorithm that's sitting between us and our audience, throttling our reach, and the cost of distribution begins to approach zero. We need to move past pushing all digital conversions into an automated and robotic nurture sequence, and instead start curating exclusive value and intentional experiences just for our subscribers. By doing this, we're giving our unknown audience, folks that haven't yet subscribed, a compelling reason to do so. But more importantly, we're delivering real value to our subscriber base who are coming to us to not just buy products, but to learn, to connect, to belong. And by embracing all these new changes, we're going to be afforded the opportunity to look beyond the limitation of web analytics data, anonymous aggregates of views and listens and impressions, into a world where we can understand and defend the actual impact of our content on revenue using real first-party data. And the impact of our efforts can now become known, not just inferred. And we can reinforce our seat at the table and enrich our conversations with sales, customer success, product, and our other partners across the company. And as we capture more and more of this data around our audience, across both our own services and rented, we'll be in a position where we can run machine learning models against our own proprietary data to help inform production decisions. What topics should we be creating content around? What formats? How do we distribute it in what channels? What creators should we be partnering with? What if we had access to the same engagement data that YouTube and Netflix had on us? We'll move beyond random acts of content and leverage actual data on our audience to tune production and distribution decisions to outcomes. So this is the hope that I see for marketing. And by the way, this may sound radical or unproven to some, but realize that this is already happening in the consumer, e-com, and creator economies. We're just late to the party. And I think that the SaaS businesses in the room who are the first movers in this strategy are going to be both on the right side of history and also have a head start on the competition. And this is a strategy, personally, that I find to be pretty inspiring. And it really has the potential to unlock a new level of creativity in B2B marketing that many of us have been desperate for in years past. So we've referred to this collection of strategies as owned media, nothing new in that terminology, but one that's taken on new meaning and importance given the realities of our go-to-market today. Just over 2 years ago, I saw these trade winds of our industry starting to shift, and realizing that there wasn't a company in the marketplace that was championing owned media, building the technology to help marketers operationalize the practice, but also championing the movement with content, community, and this exchange of ideas. So I stepped down from my CMO career and launched a company called Audience Plus. And we've been transparent from day one on how we view our role in the marketing industry. First, we're building a pioneering software platform for owned media. We're also convening a community of marketers, through Goldenhour, to co-author the new execution playbook for our practice. And also, we're creating a content and media network of our own, full of best practices to inspire, educate, and equip the market. So a quick word on each. We believe that the new marketing playbook requires a new type of platform to operationalize it. And our vision for Audience Plus is to become the operating system for owned media, starting with 2 use cases that today are currently in beta. First is a new type of CMS that's purpose-built for media. With Audience Plus, you can easily launch a media property on your domain that enables your audience to subscribe directly to your videos, your articles, your podcasts, and more. And since it's all no code, you can run your entire operation within the marketing team without borrowing resources from engineering to publish changes to the platform. Today, over 30 customers are in beta and are the earliest pioneers in this movement. The second use case that's launching this quarter is our Audience Analytics, a first-party intent data platform that allows you to both manage subscribers, but also understand their engagement across your content. We'll finally be able to break our dependence on just web analytics tools alone to really see the impact of our content across the life cycle. And best of all of this data is being captured in our proprietary audience graph database, which over time will enable a rich understanding of topics, formats, and creator collabs of interest. By the way, you won't hear anything else about the Audience Plus product from this stage today. So if you have any interest in learning more, please see Amanda. There she is, out in the foyer. Honestly, I'm so excited about what we're building. We'd love to share it with you and have a chance to see a window into the future that we see. All right, on the community front, we believe that Goldenhour will continue to play an important role in our movement, starting here in Brooklyn today, but a ton of ambition for where we can take this kind of going forward. So in addition to the annual conference, which we hope to bring back every spring, we host an executive forum every fall that operates more like a facilitated, peer-driven workshop for chief marketers. Last year, we had 50 CMOs and over $100 billion of market cap in the room, and we're excited to bring what we're now calling Goldenhour Exec back this fall. And I'm excited to announce one more community initiative. Coming this fall, we're going to be launching our first pilot chapters of what we're calling Goldenhour Local, a new initiative of local community groups in your home city. So think of this as a quarterly gathering of content and demand marketers in your town to compare notes on owned media strategy and to work through some facilitated content. Each local community will be chaired by a chapter president and supported by the Audience Plus team with content and logistics for these meetups. So if you're interested in becoming a chapter president and bringing Goldenhour Local to your city, again, please stop by the booth with Amanda and she'll share some more details on it. All right, and so to talk about our content network, I'm excited to bring up Todd Klauser to the stage, Audience Plus's head of audience marketing. Welcome, Todd.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Todd Klauser. Some of you may know me as the worst marketer in the world. But me standing on this stage right now is proof that B2B content is changing, because my background is not in SaaS. In fact, my claim to fame is that I started a 2-person media company in the welding industry. So how does that translate to B2B SaaS? Well, I'm here to tell you that. And I'm also here to tell you about Audience Plus's new content program and how that's going to affect all of you in this room. But before I do that, I want to give a shout to both Anthony and JK. They've done an amazing job at building V1 of our content program. It's actually what drew me over to Audience Plus in the first place, because I believe in this mission so much. That being said, over the past couple months, we have spent a lot of time building out our strategic narrative, aligning our content to goals, and building the future of our own owned media platform. But I had to come up with something that kind of summed up the goals of our content in a very simple, easy to understand way. And because we're B2B marketers, this is what we came up with. The goal of our content is to inspire the modern marketer by curating owned media best practices with authentic and editorial storytelling, advancing the adoption of the strategy, and sharing its impact on our profession. Yeah? I see a lot of you nodding right now. I was nodding too. But if you're anything like me, there's a reason that you're nodding. The reason is because you looked over and you saw Dave Gerhardt doing it. But the truth of the matter is, you have no idea what I just said. It's okay, Dave didn't either. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna break this. We're gonna break this down. So, Anthony just went over what owned media was, right? And if you're in this room, you probably believe that owned media is the future of B2B marketing. The problem with that, though, is not many people know how to do that, right? There's no roadmap. That is the goal of our content on Audience Plus. We are going to go into excruciating detail on how you can get started, how you can measure and report on success, and showcase other companies both inside and outside of B2B so you can see where they are finding success. So, it is my distinct pleasure to be able to share with you what we've been working on over the past couple months. So, about 2 years ago, Obed Durrani and I created Easy Mode. Now, what Easy Mode is it's an 8-part framework that teaches content marketers and marketing teams how to create a content engine using creators. We've implemented this at dozens of companies now, but today, you can go on Audience Plus and get the full thing for free. This is where I pause for the applause. Okay. All right, so, quick question. Has anybody noticed the obscene amount of camera operators in the room today? There is one camera operator for every 20 of you. And there's a reason for that. At Audience Plus, we believe that events are a huge part of owned media. And we wouldn't be doing our jobs if we didn't chronicle this entire thing and deliver it to you in an educational documentary so you can do this exact same thing. The series is called No Sleep Till Brooklyn, and it is literally the blueprint of how we put this event together. And then finally, we have a new series coming soon that is a guided playbook on how to build an owned media strategy. And because this is a very new approach to B2B marketing, I'm gonna walk you through a little bit of what you will get. You will get tutorials on how to integrate owned media practices into whatever it is that you're currently doing today. You'll get exercises on how to test and measure those different ideas. You will get a companion guide with prompting questions to complete with your team. The goal is no more silos. You can do this entire thing together, and you will get additional resources so you can go as deep down that owned media rabbit hole as you want. Now, this is the type of content that you typically pay a consultant tens of thousands of dollars to do for you. We are breaking this down so that you can do it with your team on your own. But in addition to these highly produced pieces of content, we're also going to deliver daily content through several show series using both internal and external influencers. You'll get a monthly broadcast that we go into the best practices that we're finding ourselves here at Audience Plus. You'll get written how-to guides, and you'll get access to our job board where our goal is to help marketers find their next role in companies that are actually running the new playbook. But we also had to figure out how we get people to want to subscribe to our content, because the point of owned media is to build that deeper relationship with our audience. So if you become a subscriber of Audience Plus, you will get our newly reinvented newsletter, where we go into tactical how-tos on how you can both implement the content strategy and execute on it. You'll get a monthly Q&A session that's kind of a town hall style, where you can come on and ask and present the things that you're actually having problems with, so that we can help you fix those things and get unstuck. You'll get access to the playbook, which I just went over, including our first course coming out later this year on owned media. We will do quarterly research guides that not only utilizes survey data, but it utilizes actual data that's coming out of the Audience Plus network. You'll get discounted access to all Goldenhour events that Anthony just went over, and you will get invitations to our new Goldenhour community meetups that are coming soon to a city near you. So, if any of this sounded interesting to you, here's the QR code for you to become a subscriber right now. And I'm literally measured on this number, so I need to see more phones going up right now. And I'm just gonna sit here and chill for a little bit until I see it. All right. I'm leaving. I promise I'm leaving.
Thank you, Todd. Appreciate it.
Real quick, before I leave,
Todd.
I just want to tempt you with something. Just like real quick. I've got a video for you, so.
3, 2, 1.
Hey guys, welcome to Easy Run. Marketers are thinking about creating content very differently.
So with Goldenhour, we wanted to create an on-site experience that curated relationship building for both introvert and extrovert alike.
Trust in the marketing team.
Yes.
I can't help but mind associate our product with specific outcomes. We break both of those things down into 3 parts.
More crazy.
So that doesn't at least tempt you to scan that code. I don't know, maybe I don't have a future in marketing after all. So thank you all.
Thank you. I think Todd's future in marketing is very bright. So thank you, Todd. We're so excited to have you be a part of this. Look, we're just so excited, again, to get started, to formally kick things off here. Many of you are staying with us at the William Vale, and chances are, if you have, and if you've taken the elevator down to the conference floor, you might have seen this written on the wall: "Alone together. Wish we planned it. It was there when we arrived." But I couldn't help but think just how appropriate that framing is, considering, again, all that we've been through over the last 5 years and what we're doing in response to that today. Many of us have built our careers on a digital marketing playbook that has served us very well, but is anywhere from 18 to 25 years old and is losing its impact. We then experienced a whiplash sparked by the pandemic in 2020 that left us exhausted and looking for new ways to impact pipeline. And today, nearly 25 years later, we're gathering here to find our inspiration for the new playbook for the marketing practice right here at Goldenhour. So whatever you've been through and whatever you're going through now, you're not alone. Events like this are little helpful reminders that you are not alone in the challenges that you may be facing at work. At worst, we can be alone together. So, let's get started. What do you think?